Welcome back, scholars. We're gonna go ahead and get started on our background. So I'm gonna show you a really easy, fast way to do the background. There's two different ways that you can do it. I'm gonna show you both ways, and then it's up to you to decide which one you want to use throughout your entire piece. So I'm gonna start off with looking for shapes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my rectangle. This time, instead of having a zero fill, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to add a pattern. So if you don't wanna do line, 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 you don't wanna do all the details, remember you have the option to replicate Picasso's painting with a few modifications. So I'm gonna add the one that looks most similar to that color scheme. So I'm gonna choose this fill. The outline 100%, the line width, it doesn't really matter. You could put it at 6, you could put it at 2, whatever you want. And I'm gonna leave the roundness at 0 and the cutout at 0. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do a square. And if you notice, it's being rebellious. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I change my fill. There you go. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this over here to this side. And if you notice right here, it looks like there's a square. It goes diagonal and then diagonal again. So I'm going to rotate it. You can even make the square a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it like this. Now, we don't want this covering the head. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna put finish editing, and then I'm gonna go to my select tool. I'm gonna click on this, and as soon as I click on the square, those 3 little dots are gonna appear, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the mirror. I'm gonna send it to the back. Notice how as soon as I send it to the back, you could still see a little bit right here on the forehead. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna move it a little bit up and then there. So now if I don't want to do the same thing for the shapes, because as you already saw here, when you have a pattern in the back, you could still see it within the white shapes. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to fill in the shapes using the pixel fill. Make sure that it's on pixel fill and not on vector fill, because if it's on vector fill, and if I click on any shape, it doesn't matter. It's going to add color to the entire piece. So make sure you undo. Make sure that it's on pixel fill. So here are the settings. And I'm going to get something yellow with orange because that's the background on this side. So I'm going to go to my fill. I'm going to get this pattern right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here one time and notice how it fills my entire background. I'm going to go ahead and do that here as well, but what's gonna happen if I do it here, it's gonna fill in my entire background, and I don't want that. I want this little piece to be green. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my line tool, and I'm gonna complete this shape right here. Actually, I'm gonna go like this, and then I'm gonna move it like this. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now for the sake of this assignment. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill in with the pattern. Now don't worry about this part, because later on we're gonna crop it anyway, so this part doesn't really matter. If you want to change the pattern on this side, because if you notice this one has yellow and green, you could go ahead and change it. Again, you could do whatever you want. It's really up to you. I'm gonna change it to this one, just because it's most similar to the background from Picasso. And then what you're gonna keep doing, this is the easiest part. You could just go ahead and start filling in. If you don't want patterns, if you want color, you can just go ahead and start choosing colors and start filling the rest of the piece. So I know that right now this is not completely finished. These are just the major shapes. That's all I want you to have, the major shapes, and then later on you're gonna go ahead and start doing the details. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna color the entire piece, and then I'm gonna show you how to add the hair, how to go in depth with the details. I'm gonna go ahead and add green everywhere I see it. So I'm gonna change my color to green. And if they don't have this green that you want, remember you can always go ahead and change it here. You could go more towards like a blue green, something like this. And then I'm gonna click right here. I'm gonna click right here. For some reason this got green instead of orange, so I'm gonna change it back to orange. And another way to fill it in, if you notice it keeps changing, you can just click the select tool. You can click on this, and then you can go ahead and change it. And I'm gonna go ahead and change the circle right here. If it's too light, just remember you can always click on it. And change the fill, make it a little bit darker, make it a little bit more greenish. You can change the shade. So wherever I see green, I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding the color green. Right here, there's a little bit of green. I know I kind of made the shape a little bit off, but that's okay, it's not a big deal. And then for the sake of this project, I don't feel like doing this semicircle. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in everything else. I don't wanna do the line pattern, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill it in with a different kind of pattern. Black and white. I'm gonna fill this part that color as well. And then I want to go ahead and fill this part in too. So what I'm gonna start doing is I'm just gonna start getting different values. And if you notice right now, when I zoomed out and zoomed in, everything from the left side disappeared. So if this happens to you, or if you start having technical difficulties, because let me tell you, the website does mess up, just go ahead and close it and open it again on another tab. And you can continue with your drawing. Now you can see that it appears here again. I'm gonna go ahead and change the fill to a darker pattern. So I'm gonna get this pattern, since it's kind of like a purple color. I'm gonna go ahead and just change the fill here. I'm gonna go ahead, oh, I don't know what I just did. I'm gonna go ahead and change it again. Remember, when you make a mistake, just go ahead and click undo. I'm gonna add a pattern right here. Wherever I see the dark purples, that's where I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my patterns. And I just noticed that I forgot to do this line, and I will go ahead and add it very shortly. And I'll show you guys the fastest way that you can do this. I'm gonna change the fill to color. I'm gonna change it to a light purple. And I'm gonna go ahead and add purple here. I'm gonna add purple here. I'm gonna add another circle right here, and I'll show you guys how to do that as well. And then I'm just gonna start playing around with the colors. So again, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Feel free to do your own thing. This is the fun part. So have fun with it. I noticed that I'm missing a few lines, so I'm just gonna go back with my line tool. And I'm gonna do a few more So remember, whenever you're not satisfied with your lines, you can always move them around. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Whenever you don't want a line, click on it again and just delete it. I'm gonna get my fill tool. I'm gonna change the colors. And notice how it went to the other side because I did not close it correctly. I'm gonna click right there as well. I'm gonna add another line right here. Then I'm gonna make sure that I close it by adding another line. And I'm gonna change my color to violet. So I'm not doing this exactly how it is on the Picasso original piece. I'm just kind of trying to do the colors, not exactly the patterns. So I'm noticing that I missed a lot of things from when I was doing the drawing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing more lines, because if you don't fix those lines, then this one goes this way. If you don't fix those lines, then your fills are gonna go all over the place. And I mean, if that's what you want, that's fine. But if you want to be just more accurate, then I would recommend the more lines you have, the better. So I'm gonna see where else I'm missing more lines. Right here I have a pattern. So I don't know if you guys start getting the hang of it, but like I said, as soon as you have the main shapes, you can just go ahead and start filling everything out. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna fill in the entire drawing. I'm gonna try to do some areas that I'm missing. And once I finish this, I'm gonna come back to the last video where I show you guys how to do the finishing touches and how to crop the entire piece so it could, you know, you could submit it and it could be done. And remember, it does not have to be perfect. If the belly is a little bit bigger or if your character is a little bit smaller, that's okay. It's abstraction, it's cubism, that's the beauty of it. So just have fun with this. Don't stress it. You guys got this, okay? I have faith in you. If you have any questions, just remember to send me a message via IG, send me an email, and just keep in touch. I'll see you guys on the next video.